Let me just make this very clear, right? 21:21, Monday the 23rd of June 2025. I sit here in a dire state. There are people walking past this building in pyjamas. There are teenagers walking around, half naked, in groups, shouting profanities. Not one member of the Greater Manchester Police deals with them, speaks to them, mocks them, challenges them. I'm not even allowed to walk in silence, apparently, without being harassed and mocked. 29 years old enough to be a mother of some of these young kids who walk out there. And yet I am the one who is perpetrated against. I was the victim. I am the victim. And yet not one person who has perpetrated against me has faced any. Look, there's another girl, she's just walked past with her hair poker straight, a little handbag, tight trousers. You can see her bum cheeks, you can see her cleavage. She's walking past with a clear skin. The time is 21:22 p.m. Is she working right now? It is 21:22 p.m. on the 23rd of June. Is she sat here writing mind maps? Is she applying for housing as a single, childless, unpartnered adult woman with disabilities? Is she working right now? Is she contributing to society? No, she's probably going to meet her little fuck buddy from a school, and they're going to have a little night out, and then she'll go to school tomorrow in a lovely uniform, and the teachers will love her and her schoolmates will love her, and she'll probably get an easy pass to her GCSEs and to her A-levels and to the degree, and then she'll get her degree and her cap and her gown, and she'll go on a night out, and she'll get her nice job in some fancy, prestigious, lovely organisation, and then she'll have a family, and then she'll become a mother and a grandmother, and she'll die and having lived a happy, regret-free life, and God will probably put her in heaven. That seems to be the trajectory for the majority. I, however, who actually is prayerful, righteous, pure, hygienic, conscientious, law-abiding and all things good, am the only one who is plagued with the chronic diseases, the bullying, the mockery, the public humiliation, the violations, being kicked out of a shitty university that's not even a real university. I mean, I think I think one of the biggest insults about all of this is that not just me, hundreds of other people out there are literally saying, not being funny, but it's not even a real university. You can try as hard as you want, you can change your name, you can create all these new courses. You're never going to be a Russell Group University. Right? You've got, even after my being sectioned and detained and wronged, you've got the Vice-Chancellor and 2 other members of staff being suspended, and that might only be for financial matters, but it's not really a good look if you ask me. You've got I can't believe I'm saying this considering it was an international student who kind of initiated this violation, or did initiate the violation. They seem to come to Bolton University thinking it's some massive prestigious institution, which they might be good at advertising as that, but let's be honest, it's not. It definitely wasn't my first choice, but you know, as an adult who has disabilities, doesn't have A-levels, didn't have the means to go far away, I stayed in the northwest of England. Didn't think I was good enough for Manchester Uni, didn't think I was good enough for any of the other unis, so just got a bus, enrolled, etc. But yeah, regrets. I've lost my train of thought. I think what I was trying to explain was, as I sit here tormented, traumatised, fighting every suicidal ideation, those people out there who have wronged me, including examples such as the privileged, clear-skinned, white, non-disabled, surrounded with friends, teenagers walking past, whose parents don't discipline them, whose other people don't discipline them. Even as an estranged adult, I'm not free. I'm not undisciplined. I'm not liberated. I'm not living a carefree life. I am in fear 24/7. I don't sleep well. When I awake from whatever sleep I get, I am incredibly fatigued and disturbed. I have daytime sleep attacks, which are not restful, they're just very traumatic. And I jolt awake with extreme chest pain, headache, dizziness, and just it's like being demonically attacked. Literally, there's just too much wrong. There is too much wrong. And then, after everything these bastards at the university have put me through, right? The bastard fucking dirty used baggage fuckers at the university, or should I say fake institution, wannabe institution. What's that saying that some of these Gen Z people see? A man has just walked past with a t-shirt on, showing his clear skin. What's the Gen Z people? They call it Mickey Mouse degrees, or something like that, or Wish.com. I'm sure I've read that somewhere on social media, where like if a brand is wannabe, it's like Wish.com. But yeah, that's essentially what the University of Bolton is. You know, a lot of people after I've blabbered about this ordeal to a lot of people, including total strangers, and they'd be like, "There's a university in Bolton," and then they were like, "Why would you go to the University of Bolton?" Obviously, they deemed me too good for it, which I must agree with. Obviously, this was God's sign saying, "Why are you going to a university that is not in alignment with my will? It is not a Russell Group university. You are far too good for this." I obviously ignored that instinct and inner voice and didn't see myself as good enough for to go the longer route and apply for a real university. So this is my punishment. But yeah, how the fuck have I ended up in a homeless hostel? I've literally helped homeless people. I've literally stood with posters in town centres helping the homeless, right? I've volunteered in charity shops. I've washed old people's backsides as a carer. I've done lots of low paid, unpaid jobs. That sink the water just came out on its own. That's very scary. Let's ignore it and pretend it's not. In the name of Jesus, I pray any demon that is in this room be gone. In the name of Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've gone on about, but basically what I need few or many people out there who can actually see how wrong this is to do is stand in solidarity with me. You don't have to literally be standing in solidarity. I mean, virtually. You can blog about it, write about it, podcast about it, do a YouTube video about it, do something to show your support and solidarity. If you are a decent human being who values ethics and consent and general human decency and basic courtesy and respect, including and especially, for example, to unpaid participants in a so-called collaboration within an academic setting, if you think that it is wrong for people to violate you within the university, online and outside of the university, if you agree that it is wrong to abuse and use and exclude a disabled ethnic minority marginalized adult woman, which if you are a decent person at all you will agree it is wrong to abuse a disabled ethnic minority marginalized adult woman, then please, in whatever ways you can, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your partners, tell your children, tell whoever you love that, tell your pets, tell everyone who matters to you that they need to stand in solidarity, because this is not just a personal matter here. Okay, the reason I keep banging on about this is because I am speaking up on behalf of all silenced, perpetrated, abused victims of any violation, whether that be in a home setting, an academic setting, institutional abuse, systemic abuse, locally, nationally, globally, men, women, all people who have been violated. I genuinely feel the need to be a voice, because exactly what they didn't, one of the things they don't like about me, one of the many things they don't like about me, is that I have a voice, is that I know my rights, is that I use my bravery and my voice. They didn't like that. They have this rhetoric of what the fuck is she going to do about it? Who is she? What are you going to do? Oh, she looks so scared. She looks like she's going to cry. She looks terrified. What's this little girl going to do? No. I will show you what I'm going to do, not just by me, myself, and I, but I will have my army of people. But in the real world, armies don't just get formed magically, they get formed over time. The right people have to be sourced from the right places with the right values. And unfortunately, we live in an increasingly dog eat dog world where people only seem to care about themselves. Exactly what the university student and staff did. She's more bothered about her degree, about her money, about her reputation, whatever, right? She doesn't care who gets hurt in the process. She saw me as, to quote her, all your people look the same. She just saw me as some little Indian girl with no voice and an ugly body. And she thought, what the fuck is she going to do about it? I don't wish the worst on her child, but I certainly wish the worst on her. Because a child's innocent in this. Right? I do feel for her child to have a mother like that. I mean, I thought I had bad parents, but my God, in comparison to this woman and people like her, my parents were saints. And perhaps I'm being punished for abandoning disabled, elderly, helpless parents, and that's why I'm being tormented by some illegal, unqualified, uncultured, uneducated, dirty bitch immigrant who's probably had multiple sexual partners, who probably has all sorts of other dodgy goings on. And the fact that I have fallen prey to somebody so low is what makes me feel sick. Had I fallen prey to someone who actually had substance and intelligence and a legal status here and, someone who actually matters, right? I know in the grand scheme of things, all God's children matter, but no, I mean, really speaking, this woman is nothing. She's a nobody. Right? How the fuck did I fall prey to her? You have to understand, I believe I have been the victim of a demonic attack here, because there is no way on God's green earth that somebody as intelligent, yes, I'm just going to call myself intelligent. I may not be academically gifted, I may not hold a degree, I may not be streetwise, but in certain ways I would like to think of myself as intelligent. How on earth did somebody as usually discerning as me, as careful as me, as anxious as me, as conscientious as me, just decide to stand for some random bitch who I don't even know in a university cubicle and outside? Look, two more people walked past with a clear skin. Everything, you have to understand, things trigger me. When that police officer PC Russell, who is blonde and stated that her parent was Pakistani, which is bullshit. I don't believe that for a second, because she was blonde, she had blue eyes, she literally looked Caucasian, right? Oh, look, another bus has gone past. She had the audacity not only to not help me, to not only to not even try to conduct a mini investigation, if not the full investigation that's needed. By the way, this is why victims kill themselves, because they go through all these trials and tribulations and no one stands up for them, and then they run out of energy and bravery, and it's a loss. It's a massive loss. And I really feel for all those people out there who have, killed themselves as a result of being victims of violations and being silenced. But I will not join that group. I will keep on fighting the good fight for all victims and to be the voice. And I don't mean to sound obnoxious or arrogant. I know that people have gone through much worse than me, and I know that I cannot possibly be a voice for everyone, but for the few people, or even the many people who I can help somehow through my ongoing persistence and bravery and voice, please don't kill yourself, as just don't. Talking of which, people, including those in positions of duties of care, have actually encouraged me to end my life, asking me questions such as, why do you keep trying? And it's just absolutely awful. I don't drive because I've had bitchy, racist, female, disgusting driving instructors who milked money out of me, who didn't actually teach me to drive, and who showed extreme hatred towards me because of my ethnicity and how I look. I've had so much racism from, including one who was a Polish female instructor in Lancashire, who didn't even speak great English herself, but she constantly made comments about my ethnicity, which were completely inappropriate. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I am already very, 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 very oppressed. Right? Most people are not born to a one-eyed mother, an elderly father who's now dead, half mixed race, evil, vicious, demonic, now orphaned adult half siblings who are old enough to be my parents and who have had multiple partners who have their own children and now grandchildren. Right? They are not pure, they are not good, they are not righteous. They might claim to be religious, but they are not. Right? They are hypocrites. I'm very tired. My head is hurting. My whole body is hurting. My soul is hurting. I have not been supported by anyone. People have pretended to try and help, or they've pretended to be there to listen. But when push comes to shove, not one person from any institution, not the university, not the police, not the human rights organisations, not this hostel, not this nobody in this nobody in this town, this region, this country, this world, to this day, has actually stood in solidarity with me. Some people, like I've alluded to, have said, how have they got away with this? And that's really wrong. But it's like, I don't matter enough for them to actually think, do you know what? We are not going to let these people get away with what they've done. Let's stand up and fight. No one's done that because they're lazy, they can't be bothered. So I'm completely fighting this, and that's why once again I'm protesting very openly, very urgently, very in a non-filtered way, unscripted. Please, you cannot allow these disturbed, vindictive, demonic, money-obsessed, self-obsessed, unethical, non-religious, unrighteous, pathetic people to get away with such horrific crimes. Because let me tell you, it's not just sexual abuse and murder and other forms of abuse that are bad. Even seemingly subtle forms of abuse are bad, if not even worse in many ways. Because honestly, they might as well have murdered me, because they've written me off in every other way. Why did they not just have me killed off? It's more burdensome to be staying alive with all of this going on, knowing that my perpetrators are out there thriving with their families and their friends and their colleagues and their beautiful homes and their cars and their regular holidays, and they're laughing at the top of their lungs at my expense and at the expense of all their other victims. I was asked recently by a police officer, how would you feel if this was your daughter? In regards to some angry emails I sent, perhaps nonsensical emails, to which I, very briefly, without going into too much of what I actually wanted to explain, was obviously not good. Why has the same question not been asked to my perpetrators? How would you feel if this was your daughter? I'm somebody's daughter, I'm somebody's sister, I'm somebody's granddaughter, I'm somebody's niece, I'm somebody's friend, believe it or not. And I matter just as much as them, if not more, right? Why has that question not been asked to my perpetrators? Why have none of them been sectioned, abused, arrested, questioned, detained, humiliated, reported as missing? You have to understand, I am a victim of systemic abuse, institutional abuse, horrific abuse, and it needs to stop. They knew and they know exactly what they were doing and are doing, right? None of this was an accident. The whole attack against me was premeditated, from retaining and disseminating the images, having officers come and detain me, putting me in an actual ward, keeping me there without any mental health support, without any medical support, without any financial support. They left me homeless. The hospital was not going to help me find a home after I was forced to leave my student accommodation as an totally legal paying, albeit with struggle. But ask the landlord if you don't believe me. I'm not going to name her because I respect her too much. But I'm not going to name her. Lovely, lovely, lovely person. One of the rare good people I've actually come across. And she's not perfect, because no human is, but she's as close to one of the nicest people I've ever met. And even she, rightly so, reminded me that there are some good people in the world. And she even disagreed with some of the practices that happened against me. But unfortunately, there's just not enough people like that who actually... I mean, I wouldn't say she stood in solidarity with me in terms of the image thing, because I don't think she had the power to. But the point is, people are able to go out of their way and be nice, and she is an exemplary of that. So then why are other people not doing it? Look, there's more. I'm not going to record but look, there's more people walking past. Teenagers, fuck about. They're not studying, they're not working. If I was walking outside at this time, my father would have whacked me with the walking stick. Right? My mother would have slapped me or hit me with a glass or something. In the native language, she would have been screaming at me, essentially saying, "Oh, why are you outside at this time?" You know, I wasn't even allowed to go to the local Tesco, even during COVID, when there were literally 10-year-olds walking outside at 3 o'clock. Obviously, I'm going to be fucked up when I'm already oppressed. Look, they're walking past half naked. I can see her cleavage. I can see her arms. I can see her bum. Did people find her sexually gratifying? Probably. Did she dress like that consensually? Yes. Did I ask the fucking bitch cunt woman at university to use my face to not give any context about the autoimmune disease, which is just as bad as, if not worse than, cancer, because of the chronic element of it? And if you don't believe me, there are some links, not very strong links, because the condition is not yet very well researched, but there are links to cancer with this condition. So I would not be surprised if in a decade's time, research shows that this condition is even worse than cancer. It may not be terminal, but it's life-limiting. It may not even look as bad as it is, but ask any other sufferer and they will tell you exactly what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I've been able to communicate with people in these forums and in these international groups. Unfortunately, there are now some emerging dermatologists who are speaking about the difficulty of living with this condition and the disparities in healthcare. So I am not bullshitting. I am not sat here saying, oh, I'm the only one suffering. It's not a mental health condition. It's a real condition, which obviously is going to exacerbate any existing mental health conditions because it limits you from working, from studying, from socializing, from dressing in certain ways, from, sleeping, from, even showering hurts, bathing hurts, applying skincare hurts. They don't understand because they're not going through it. So I could go on and on and on even further, but just the key message here is you need to stand in solidarity because this has been going on too long and the authorities have not helped. I am taking it upon myself to ask for solidarity and to please get me the justice I require, because I do not want any other student anywhere in the world to go through what I have been subjected to. And it's my duty to make sure that it doesn't happen to anyone. Thank you in advance. God bless. Good night.